Liza Dooley. I wasn't always this fab. I used to be butt ugly, but I blew out my curls and pushed up the girls, traded likes for likes, and I was insta-famous.
We had the idea of doing a show that sort of delved into a very common phenomenon happening now with social media and the social media obsession. And we sort of reverse engineered how do you tell a story about a girl who is inadvertently keeping the world at arm's distance because she has her phone in her hand. So we kind of knew the area that we wanted to explore, and the more we started talking about it, the more we started realizing that there was in fact a bit of a Pygmalion twist to this story, and it came about like that.
It recently came to my attention that I have poor instincts, a weak stomach, no real friends, and
Loose sexual morals?
have we met?
So we have our Henry and Eliza, and I think what probably differs the most from the original source material, well, there's obviously a lot of differences, but we really see this as a true two-hander. And we will also explore the evolution of Henry. It's really not just about Eliza and her metamorphosis, but here's a guy who is very similar to her, more than he realizes, and he's sort of shut himself off because he's a bit of a workaholic. And the two of them are alienated and ultimately, I think, just looking for the same thing, which is human connection.
Eliza, I'm sure you're aware it is possible to be beautiful on the outside and still butt on the inside.
Like Gwyneth Paltrow.
Okay, you need to go.
No, please. I know you don't like me. Just change me.
I don't like you, but I can change you.
We do have our stories where, you know, Eliza's phone is being pried out of her hand and we're trying to get her to sort of interact with the real world around her. But as Henry, you know, in the role of her teacher, starts helping to educate her about how to do this properly, he realizes that he's been missing out on quite a bit himself.
Good morning, how are you?
How are you?
How are you? Good.
So we have the two of them and what really will evolve into a budding romance between the two. We also have the workplace environment and we have some fantastic actors. We're holding a lot of Brits hostage for this show, by the way. We have David Harewood playing John Cho's boss, and he is fantastic in the role. So Eliza and Henry work together, so we have a great cast of characters that surround them at work, really fun people, and a really heightened sort of odd environment. They work in pharmaceutical sales, pediatric pharmaceutical sales, making drugs for children. So that'll be fun to explore. And of course, Eliza has her circle where she lives in her building and a group of girls that she feels sort of alienated by. So one of the little baby steps is trying to get, you know, her own circle of friends, and Henry's guiding her towards that. So we get to meet the people she aspires to be friends with as well.
Roma, Roma, ma. Gaga, ooh la la.
Want your bad romance?
At first glance, it will feel like it's a female skewing show and a young show at that. And I think that's probably the case, but we're hoping with, you know, John Cho in the role of Henry and really dividing our stories between the two of them that there's mass appeal. As far as what's on television that's like it, it's hard to articulate that because I do think with single camera comedies, it doesn't always fit the mold, and this show I think is a bit different, not just because we have this built-in social media device that helps color the world, but you know, it is a great ensemble show. So, you know, hopefully we find our audience.
No, Eliza, don't. I think that you're getting it, but you are in fact missing it.
You have to, like, live it.
I think I should tell you how.
You get it! Go! Whatever you're doing with Mr. Man is working. Okay.
We'll be on ABC Tuesdays at 8. It's a great spot to lead off a night. Is of course a lot of pressure, but also exciting, and we know we have the support of the network and trying to help launch us in that spot. I don't think there's a lot of other scripted comedies on at that hour. I think we may be the only scripted comedy at the 8 o'clock hour on Tuesday. So here's hoping.
You know the first thing about this woman? Do you even know her name?
Darling.
Shamanique.
In my defense, that's not a real name.
The thing
For this specific show, the most difficult challenge to overcome is probably the stigma, especially when you talk about selfies and those kind of girls. It's another reason why I give Karen Gillan so much credit in this role. Here you start with a character that is designed to be unlikable at the start of the show. And we ask the audience, stay with her. She's a work in progress. So I think that's just an enormous creative hurdle coming at it. But luckily we have this incredibly talented, lovable and magnetic actress in the role, and I think she did such a good job. Such a tall order, and I think also in general the social media stuff, one might think at first glance that this is a show that sort of celebrates that and is really trying to capitalize on that, when in fact really we're trying to comment on it. It is a difficult thing to watch. I have a 14-year-old whose phone is practically adhered to his face at all times, and you know, without being too preachy about it, I think there is something to be said for a generation of people who've grown up without realizing that there are boundaries to set, and it's great to look people in the eye when you talk to them, and there are connections to be made that, you know, in person, human connections. So I think, you know, really once you scratch the surface and get a good look at the show, you'll realize that there's more of a comment being made than you might realize on the surface.
I guess the moral of the story is that being friended isn't the same as having friends.
When I was sick, not one person called to see if I was okay.
There was this video that was circulating a while back that was exploring, I think it was called The Innovation of Loneliness. And they were talking about, in an effort to be in touch with everyone, you're really in touch with no one. And is it possible to have that many friends? Are you having any real relationships if you try and service everyone you've ever gone to camp with or school with, or, you know, every distant cousin? And really that the wider we get, the wider our reach is, really you're not having intimate connections with anyone. We're not hitting it that hard in the show, but it's a slow sort of, I think, process of her realizing that. Henry, I think, has a handle on that, and I do think that people who aren't of that generation, it's easy to see from afar what's going on, but when you're immersed in it and you feel there is that gratification of instant likes and people commenting and you're getting attention and you're getting all this affirmation, it feels really good. But it's not the same thing as having really in-person human connections. I mean, that's an entirely different relationship. So I think people have to realize and wake up at the end of the day. I always joke about my kid being in his room. I hear him in there laughing, and there's no one in there. He's alone, but he doesn't feel alone. He's, you know, chatting, texting, and messaging people, and you know, I think that there's something to be said for putting down the electronics and just really going out and having a one-on-one connection with someone.
Wow. Is there something funny?
Just call me beautiful.
I absolutely did.
You indirectly did.